Welcome to our November Cablecast show. I'm Joe Erardi, Superintendent of Schools, and I'm really hoping you stay with us for the hour that we'll be sharing with you, I think, some great information. Ashley Golong, a junior here at Newtown High School, has a story that, if you don't think it's true, it is, and it's an amazing story. I'm also pleased to share with you Judy Blanchard and Michelle Hiskovich, two of the hardest working administrators in our district, and they'll share with you what their day looks like and what their passion is all around. Before we get to Ashley, to Judy, and to Michelle, just a couple of thoughts as we round into the second quarter of this school year. The time zone has changed, the weather is cooling, and everybody begins to think about delayed openings and early dismissals and school closings. And because I'm new to the district, real quick, I just want everyone to know that if there's ever a delay, it'll be a 2-hour delay. We'll broadcast it out in a number of different ways. I'm certain that folks will get the information. And if there's ever an early dismissal, we'll be consistent with that time also, where the high school launches at about noontime. I'm hoping for a weather-free winter. I don't think that's going to be the case. But on the other hand, I just want to make sure that everyone realizes there's a number of mediums that are available to check where we are with what we're doing with weather. Just jump on the website and you will see that. My only other comment is that as we head into the holiday season, nearing Thanksgiving, and then rounding into December, I'm hoping that as parents and as community members, you've stayed connected to what we're doing. If there are ever questions, always, it's an open hour every morning, it's a phone call away. And we look to make sure that this community, especially our parents of our students, are well informed, and always our job is to answer whatever question that might be in front of you. I want to stop talking. I'd like to introduce Judy Blanchard and Michelle Hiskovich to you. As I mentioned in my remarks to start the November show, it really is a privilege, and it's a community privilege. To my left, Judy Blanchard; to my right, Michelle Hiskovich. Judy has responsibility, I don't know how you do it, for coordinating Health K-12. And Michelle, I have no clue on how you do it, Performing Arts, Fine Arts, K-12. So what's easy to understand is K-12. What is more difficult to understand, especially for a community member who wants to better understand what you do and what you do, is in an executive summary, and Judy, I'm going to start with you, in an executive summary of no more than 30 seconds. Your best description of what you do on a daily basis. That's a lousy first question. That's
for
really
health
hard.
curriculum.
For K-12 health
For K-12 health curriculum, I think the essence of the job is to understand the curriculum components, K through 12, to support the teachers in teaching that curriculum, and to keeping abreast of changes in health that would impact how we teach our curriculum and what we teach in our curriculum.
Okay.
But basically, I'm a resource to teachers as we try to ensure that the health curriculum, which is very important, is updated, current, taught, and supported. For those teachers, remembering that K through 4 teachers are classroom teachers, and they take on health in addition to everything else that they're teaching.
As a former health educator from another lifetime, I put a lot of premium on that part of a student's day. And I can only assume one of your challenges is that health education changes constantly. And that's the easy part of your job, because you then become the expert on what's contemporary that everybody gets concerned about with health education. So if you would, and I just want to be fair to you, beyond your K-12 oversight, you are absolutely immersed in this community for all of the right things. So if you could share with our viewing audience just a couple of the things that you do from a leadership perspective that you think are on top of that pile of most important.
Okay. For the school district, I am the interim director for our Safe Schools Climate Committee. And so in the short term, what we were trying to do with that is to take a look as a result of a climate survey, which we do to students, staff, and parents, to take a look at the results of that survey, to see where our strengths are, where we need improvements, and how we can take our strengths to build on improving ourselves in whatever ways that are identified.
Okay.
and to collaborate on a district level to get all of the schools together so we have some vertical alignment. I chair the Wellness Committee, which has been dear to my heart for the last 2 years because we have focused on staff wellness.
Sure.
And so we have been promoting activities for our staff to help with stress reduction. The bigger picture to that is that we have a comprehensive school health model which includes health education, PE, mental health, the community, nursing. But our focus for 2 years has been on staff wellness. And then in the district, I co-chair the Newtown Prevention Council with the Chief of Police. And we have had a SAMHSA grant, a federal grant. We're in our 10th year. So we brought in over $1 million into the community to address substance use in youth. It's the end of that grant, and we're looking forward now to begin the project of helping define resiliency for the Newtown community in the long term, for a 5 to 10 year view.
Judy, I want to come back to you, and I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the best advice you can give to our parents who are scratching their head wondering where their focus should be in regards to health education. I want to come back to that. So I want to come to you, and I just want to share anecdotally with our viewing audience that unbeknownst to you, you and I met each other, I think, for 4 or 5 or 6 straight nights, because every concert I went to, you had your smiling face introducing the concert de joie. And it was amazing to me, first of all, you could just sort out what school you were in, because you were in a different school so often. And then I really took a step back, and I begun to realize the magnitude of what you have grown in this district, which in my take, and as recently as the band festival from a week ago, the marching band, which is an award-winning, once again, marching band in the state of Connecticut, and all of the performing arts that's under your wing. I'd like, if I could, start with a similar question that I asked your counterpart, Judy Blanchard. If you could share an executive summary of what you see your scope being for students and for the district, that'd be terrific.
Well, similar to Judy, it starts with curriculum, organizing the music curriculum so that we're up to date on the national standards, which are newly revised, so we'll be incorporating that into our curriculum. Working with teachers to make sure that happens in our classrooms, developing assessments that are appropriate for our students, as music is not there's no national test for music or art or theater. So creating that so that we're in alignment with the rest of the teachers in the district. Planning all of the district concerts that go on. I plan the entire calendar, all the rehearsals, all the venues, making all the arrangements to equipment, teaching my own classes, coordinating the district calendar, assisting teachers wherever I can. I'll come into a classroom and co-teach with teachers as need be, and also as department chair here at the high school for the fine arts, overseeing the music, art, and theater programs, attending all of those meetings, and making sure everybody's in alignment with national standards curriculum, and doing what we need to do to create the best arts program for our students.
So, through the lens of this superintendent, you probably just described, as did Judy, 2 or 3 full-time jobs.
Easily.
And you sit here with a smile, and you sit here with a smile, so I'm really pleased you're both smiling. So I want to stay with you just for a bit longer, if I could. You have oversight for nearly everything that's on stage, in some way.
Correct.
And you said very quietly, but very succinctly, that you're still involved with daily practice of teaching and learning with high school students.
Yes.
And I believe you're here for at least 2 classes per day. When you reach out for a helping hand, I'd like if you could just share a bit about the support that you receive from either parent volunteers, community volunteers, and how they become part of the solution for you. Because I don't think we could do it without those folks.
Our program would not be successful without parents. We have such an active parent group for band, orchestra, chorus, theater, and we work in partnership to make these programs happen. The Grasso Festival would not happen without the parents. The band is off today to Annapolis to compete. You know, as you said, they're an award-winning band. A boatload of parents going with them to support them by moving equipment, chaperoning students, and getting them to where they need to be and keeping them safe at all times. So it's a really important component. We work a lot with the community, not only parents coming in and helping our programs, but our programs reaching out to the community. We perform all over town for various events. And I love that we have that partnership and that we can support each other, because we know how important the arts are for our kids, we know how important the arts are in our lives. And so if we can reach out and help with a community event and provide students, provide equipment on occasion, we coordinate all of those things. And I like that we do that.
Well, even with the Grasso Festival, speaking to the president of the parent support group, he intimated that I believe there were nearly 150 parents on that evening.
Yes.
Doing something. And of course, you're there as wearing too many hats. But all the viewer sees is an extraordinary event with highly qualified instruction and terrific musicians. It's a beautiful showcase. It's a terrific showcase. I want to come back to you, and I want to talk a little bit further with you in regards to if a parent was sitting or chatting with us, and the question is around commitment to the performing or the fine arts, and at what point does that commitment grow to a passion, where I know that this high school is responsible for graduating some very, very, very talented youngsters. But Judy, I want to come back and let's talk a little bit about, there's hot buttons every year in health education. There are parents, and with great respect, and rightfully so, who wish to have those types of conversations outside of the classroom. You become the balancing act and the litmus for all of that. And again, as we talked briefly about, health education continues to go through extraordinary change depending on what is happening in this world at the present time. So with that being kind of the landscape of the conversation, best advice that you could give to parents in our viewing community on if there are topics, sensitive topics, how do they get to you, how do they get to the teacher, how do they fully understand what we are doing before they make that parent choice?
I think my biggest message to parents is for them to understand the power they have as parents. They are the most influential and powerful force in their child's life, regardless of what we sometimes think that it's peers. Research shows it isn't, it's the parent. And communicating with their students might be very difficult, but that in itself is the most important thing. The school does not view itself, we do not view ourselves as the primary health educator. We see the parents as that, because health is a different kind of subject than the other subjects that we teach. It can be very personal, it can be very sensitive. So we want to partner with parents in being a lead in health education for them, but we don't see ourselves as necessarily the primary educator. It is the parent. So communication to me is the biggest piece, communicating with their kids about what's going on in their lives, what are the hot button issues, not to be afraid to step into discussions. Some of the parents have come to presentations that we give as a district about talking about puberty and sexuality and substance use, and those are the tough conversations, but they're the conversations that our children need to have with someone who shares our values, and that's the parent. We can teach knowledge and we can teach content, but the parents are the primary educators for the values piece, which is key to health education. And then second to that, to communicate with us. If a parent has a concern with an issue that's going on, we want to hear the concern. Our health curriculum is very reflective of our community's values, and we need to hear from parents to know what that is. So over the course of years, we continue to ask parents to be engaged with us, engaged with their students, let us know their feelings so that we can appropriately teach their students in school.
From someone, and I'm talking about myself, who's only been in district for 7 or 8 months, one of my takeaways to date pertaining to health education and preventive information for students and parents is that I sense that the district has erred on the side of, although it may be contentious, if it can truly help one child, we're going to find a way to help that child. As recently as a middle school program that took place last school year. And I think what you're doing is you're doing the right thing, not the easy thing. And that's the conversation I think that has to take place with parents who are concerned. We're always going to recognize and honor that concern. But I think it's absolutely essential for everyone to understand that if they think the topic of health education is a secondary subject, I would really love to have that debate with that person. Talk a little bit about your drug prevention work. I worry about that all of the time as a superintendent.
I worry about that all the time. Over the past 10 years, the school system has partnered very closely with the Newtown Prevention Council because years ago when I started, the drug problem was a school problem. And it isn't a school problem, it's a community problem. It's a problem for all of us. And the drugs of choice have changed over the years. But the problem is that what is consistent is the young age of children starting. And that has come up over the years. We've had some good responses to our survey data. We've done this for 20 years. We've seen a lot of improvement in a lot of ways. But there's always that side, we're getting hit by the side by something new all the time. And right now, it's the prescription drugs leading to opiate use. And it's so important that heroin problem is somewhere else with someone else. And it's not. It's everywhere now. And it seems to begin with our younger people not being afraid of prescription drugs, getting into the cupboards and experimenting. They don't have a fear of that. We may not see that in the public school system, but what that develops into further down the line, and sometimes here too, is that those prescription drugs aren't available. Heroin is very available, very cheap, and we end up crossing over into that. And that is, it's not to scare parents, what it really is to empower them to know that all of the behaviors involving drugs that are at the younger age are the important ones for them to start at a very young age, so that kids see that these are poisons. These aren't healthful things to be putting into their body. So if we can raise children who understand that every decision they make, what they put into their body, how they treat their body, is going to have an impact on their success, and mental health as well as physical health, for them to be able to avoid the drug use problems as they escalate.
Judy, my belief, when folks ask me what's really changed from the social aspect of students in high school, my first thought is always around the level of use. There's always been, sadly, there's always been users, whether it's alcohol or gateway drugs in. But I believe what truly has changed in the last 10 years is that 10 years ago, there were very few, if any, students who were climbing up the opiate of the oxy to the heroin piece. And I think that is, from my conversations to the youngsters that I've spoken to, consistently, unbeknownst to each other, each one says the same thing to me. If I ever knew the first time where this would lead me, I never would have. So, and I think part of that conversation is around creating activities that students get involved with rather than doing the things that they shouldn't be doing, which brings me, Michelle, back to you. So, a highly, well, let's go backwards first of all. I sense that your program really begins to explode from the transition of elementary to intermediate. Actually, I was in the intermediate band practice this morning, and you had Batman and Robin dressed in costume,
Yes.
doing terrific work. I just want to let you know that publicly. They did great work in costume.
They're wonderful.
But talk a little bit for the serious musician in this community. What happens from the intermediate school launch going forward? What are the opportunities?
There's so many, and I have to credit all of our music teachers and all of our arts teachers, with the wonderful work they do.
Sure.
We have highly qualified arts teachers who are also practicing professionals, and they bring a wonderful quality to our students that they bring real world experience, and that's important. And so our elementary teachers do a fabulous job of laying the groundwork with the basic knowledge for our students. And then when they get to read, they are able to make a choice of playing an instrument or singing in the choir. and they choose between band, orchestra, or chorus, and that's where Batman and Robin come in and other guests. But our teachers work in pairs, they co-teach, to teach those necessary skills on playing an instrument. It's a lot to manage. They have to learn how to hold an instrument, how to put it together, how to read. There's a lot of musical literacy involved. And so all of those components come together, and kids start to develop what they like and what they don't like. They start to become consumers themselves, and we try to guide them along that path to find the niche for them. And sometimes it takes them a little while. Some kids know right off the bat. But our teachers are wonderful at guiding them along that path, and then as they go through middle school and then come to high school, more and more opportunities open up with jazz band, with marching band, chamber choir, chamber orchestra, the musical, the drama. So they have lots of other choices. So we're educating future consumers of the arts.
In large numbers.
Very large numbers.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
I calculate, just a rough calculation with music alone, we have over 5,000 students in the district involved in music, and I'm really proud of that statistic. It actually turns out to be a larger number than enrollment because kids are involved in multiple activities.
That's extraordinary. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable if you think about that. So a question that you probably could have forecasted to end our session is that the two of you, I think what you have in common is that you've done just terrific work with all levels of the organization, with teachers, with administration, and most importantly with students. And you've both been here a while. You're veteran administrators in Newtown Public Schools. And it's that legacy question. You know, Judy and Michelle, it doesn't matter who goes first. When the day is done and you're waving to the crowd in your rearview mirror and it's time to enjoy life, what's the legacy? What do you want folks to remember about your work? I hope that day never comes to either one of you, but go ahead.
I think that when the work that I do has been with so much with the students and with their parents together, that I think that seeing our students and our families as a whole in conjunction with the school is that it's the partnership. I've been very, very fortunate to be very involved in the community. It's a role a little different
Sure.
than many of the roles in the school, but I think that the ability to engage the community with the school and the family is what is going to raise healthy children and become a healthy community.
That the arts continue to play an important role in the lives of our children. We know the value of the arts with developing creativity and problem-solving skills, and we want to perpetuate that our students will encourage their children to participate, and that this community will always value that. And I think they do and they always will. And the partnership that we have established as well with the community through all the various events in town that will continue and maintain.
Well said. I hope our viewers in this community in a very short period of time recognize two outstanding administrators, real simple, all in for the best of students. Judy, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Michelle, thank you for being on.
Thank you.
The student profile this month at Newtown High School could be probably the most special profile I've done. I've been doing cable monthly shows for a very, very long time. I've been privileged to meet a number of highly skilled, highly talented, very, very bright young adults, and I don't think there's anybody further on top of that pile than Ashley Long. Ashley, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to brag about you, because I don't think you have the ability to brag about yourself. Okay, now we're going to chat a little bit. I met Ashley about a month ago, and in her very quiet way, she shared with me that in a competition across the country, with hundreds if not thousands of applicants, everyone looking to find a way to become a ticket to the Capitol to meet the president's wife. The poetry competition was fiercely competitive, and the intent of the competition was multi-layered and with multiple submissions. And when the competition ended, the judges that were throughout the lengthy competition looked for the top 5 student poets in the country. And that's why it's a real privilege, Ashley. I love to talk about you. I just love to talk about you, and I love to talk about you because I was just so impressed with who you are in your humble way as a person, and I was equally, if not more, impressed with your brilliance in writing. So I just wanted to share that with you, okay? All right, so let's talk a little bit about Ashley Glom, all right? We'll start off by what year are you at the high school?
I'm a junior.
Okay, you're a junior, and you've been at Newtown High since your freshman year,
Yeah.
correct? When the opportunity was presented to you, do you want to get involved? Do you want to submit? Do you want to enter? How did that come to you, and why did you respond? I mean,
Well, during my freshman year, a student from the high school, I believe, won a national medal for her art piece, and it was featured on the blog. So I went on the website and I found out that they had a category for poetry, which was a field that I had begun to be interested in. So I ended up submitting, and then I ended up winning a national gold medal, and then from there.
that was your freshman year?
Oh no, that was my sophomore
Your
year.
sophomore year?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what happens?
And then after I won the national medal, I thought that the contest had ended, but about a week later, I got a letter notifying me that I had been chosen as a semifinalist for the National Student Poets Program, and they wanted me to submit more poems, more materials, and so I ended up submitting. And then in late July, I got a call notifying me that I had been chosen as a National Student Poet.
And then what happens?
And then my year as a literary ambassador started. It all kicked off
In July of 2014, correct? This past July, or July of 2013? This summer or last summer?
This summer.
Yeah,
So
right, okay.
yeah, so I was
Okay.
chosen in July 2014.
Right.
But I wasn't allowed to tell anyone about the appointment until the official press release had been given out in September
That's
this
hard
year.
to do, isn't it?
Yeah,
It really
it's
is.
hard to keep it in.
Sure. So what happens then in September?
So then in September, to pretty much kick off the year as a literary ambassador, we went to the White House where we met with White House speechwriters, and we also met with Michelle Obama, and we had the chance to read for both her and a room of about, I believe, 20 to 30 other people. And then it was a really jam-packed weekend, a whirlwind of events. And then from there, we also.
I want to stop because I want to go back. The experience in the White House I want to talk about, because it has to be an extraordinary moment for you.
Yeah.
So you're with the First Lady. Where in the White House were you?
I believe we were in the Blue Room.
And you're there with 4 other high school students.
Yeah.
And tell me how that felt and what the program looked like. And was your mom with you?
Yeah, both my parents were with me.
Your mom and your dad?
Yeah.
Okay. And so they're sitting, I'm sure, with a grin that's wider than the ocean. How proud they are of you, correct? Did you read your poetry at that time?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And was there an awards presentation in that program at all at that point?
That was mainly for Michelle Obama to introduce us.
Yeah.
It was, well, first what happened was that we have these pins that we're supposed to wear throughout the year whenever we go somewhere to spread the appreciation of poetry. So she was the one who, I guess,
She pinned
pinned
you?
us.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And then she later introduced us to a crowd of 20 to 30 people. She introduced the program, and we all got the chance to read our poetry.
Talk a moment about the speechwriters in D.C. at the White House. What did they share with you?
Pretty much just a chance to just have a casual conversation about, for one, their jobs and what it's like to be a speechwriter, and also just writing in general, and how to find inspiration for writing and the process of writing and everything that comes along with it.
Tell me what you're thinking when you're being pinned by the president's wife of this great country. What are you thinking?
Yeah, it was really surreal. My thoughts were just really racing, and it was really amazing to meet her. And she was just so kind and so warm. And she really tried to just put us at ease because it was definitely kind of a nerve-wracking
For sure.
moment. Yeah.
In the response locally, what's happened in Newtown with the achievement that you've received? Tell me what your teachers say to you, and you've had a couple of interviews with the press here too.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so first I had an interview with the Newtown Bee. It was great. I got to go in and talk to a reporter about pretty much the program award and pretty much what I'll be doing in the future. And then I also had a couple other interviews, and yeah, it's been exciting.
And Ashley, I want to mention, and we'll move on, I just want to mention how excited the school board was a few weeks ago just to say hello to you and your family, to recognize your achievement. I don't think this high school has ever had somebody at that level achieve what you've done. And you continue to be a very unassuming, humble, very bright young lady, and we're just really proud of you. I want to just take a moment before the show ends to share a little bit more about you, other than just that you are extraordinary talent and your willingness to work hard with poetry in your English class. Talk about your other classes. What are you taking?
Do you mean like what's the courses?
Yeah,
or?
yeah, in the levels that you take.
Well, I'm taking 4 APs, which are U.S. History, Calculus, English, and Latin.
And again, you say that as if you're looking at the weather. So what the community really needs to know is that an AP, an advanced placement class, represents national curriculum on the college level with, if all goes well, college credit. And it's not every day that a junior takes 4 AP classes.
Yeah, it's fun though. I like
It's
it.
fun, okay. And I'm assuming then that, is there any other activities that you're involved with other than just a core, or anything after school?
Yeah, so besides poetry, I'm also really interested in Latin. And so in my sophomore year, I founded the Latin Club here at school. And along with that, I also founded the Middle School Latin Learning Program, which is pretty much a program designed to give middle school students the chance to get a glimpse of what high school Latin might be like. Because I personally, my freshman year, I took French instead of Latin because I wasn't sure of what it was going to be like, and because Latin is not taught in the middle school. So pretty much I wanted to give other students that chance to see what Latin's like and see if they would be interested in taking it.
Okay. Actually, one of the things that I like to talk about, it's called a personal credo, and what that means is what you believe, and what I believe is important to me, what you believe is important to you. If you could offer any insight or advice to very nervous grade 8 students who are going to step into this enormous high school next year, what advice would you give them?
I'd say really just follow your passions and always be open to any new experiences, because for me personally, poetry was something that I didn't start writing until freshman year. And so I would just say, yeah, just to be open to anything that might come your way, and to always give something a try, because you never know what your passions might end up being.
For sure. As I mentioned, that I consider you one of the most talented young ladies that I've ever spoken to, and I was very sincere with my remarks, and I've been blessed as a superintendent for a very long time to talk with highly talented and highly skilled and highly articulate and highly athletic and musically inclined youngsters. I don't know if I've ever been impressed like you've impressed me. I just hope that where you are right now, with the way you approach your work, it stays with you for a lifetime. You are going to have an enormously successful life. And I just really thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thank you for
Thank
having me.
you.
Thank you very much.